Good afternoon, everybody. Today, I just wanted to give a brief overview of formatting in Google Docs. Now, formatting is the way a document is arranged or looks. So when you change the format, you're just changing the way that you would have it look or the arrangement of that document. Uh, as with anything in our Google apps, whether it be docs, sheets, slides, forms, any of them, it's critical to first go up to the title where it says Untitled Document and name this something so that it's easy for you to find later in your drive if you leave it and then want to come back and work on it later. So I'm just going to call this demo doc and a random number. Okay. And see it saying saving, and then once it's saved to drive, this means that it's saved. Any changes I've made are there. Um, so once again, I want to focus in on some of the formatting basics of this doc and not so much the tools and everything like that. Now, when we talk about formatting, it's important to have some text out here because what these documents are mostly used for is some sort of text writing, to convey thoughts or keep a list or write a paper, something like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and type up my name, class, um, the name of the school, and I'll just do the day of the week that I'm making this. I just wanted to do this just to get some words out here so we can see that as we change the formatting, what's happening here. Um, so there's a couple places you'll find this formatting options. A lot of it is here that the ones that you use mostly are going to be top on this toolbar ruler. And even though we're not talking about the tools necessarily, a lot of these tools do have to go with formatting. So they're in there. You can also find them in your format menu here. You can see your text, paragraph styles, alignment, indent, all that kind of stuff. You can also clear formatting. However, if we are looking to format this document in general, so the whole document, the whole page, that's going to be under the file setup, or page setup. So if I go to file and I go all the way down here, blocked by my tools there. So I go all the way down to page setup. You can see some options you have here. One of the major formats that are changed are portrait to landscape, or the orientation of the page. Portrait makes it kind of skinnier and tall, whereas landscape turns the page on its side and makes it wider than it is tall. You'll also see the paper size. For 90% of the stuff you do, you'll use what's called letter size, which is 8.5 by 11 inches, and that's just your normal computer paper. The next one that most people use is called this, where is it? Legal. Oh, I'm on it. Legal, and that's a little bit bigger, and that's used more for, signing documents and legal stuff. So margins are how far onto the page you're not going to have any type or pictures or anything go. So the bigger your margin, the less space you have to type. So I'm just going to go ahead and change these to 0.5 instead of the 1 inch, which is the default. And just go in there and do that. And that is just going to widen the area that I can type. One last thing you can do here is change the color of your page if you would like. So I do that, and you can already see where the blank spot to the sides is smaller than it was. Okay, so that's setting up your page. Most of the other formatting we do is with the text itself. And that's going to be right in here in your toolbar. So changing the different text. So when we talk about font, we're talking about what does the typing look like. And if we want to change that, we do it under our font menu. So it always defaults to Arial, which is just your normal type out looking thing. But if you click on this, you can see all the different types that are available to change it to. Now, being Google Docs and not like a Microsoft Word, there's not that many as there are in Word, but there's enough where you can really change it up. So I can change that to Pacifico, change this one to destroyed, change this to, that's fine, there we go. And we'll change this one to, there we go. And you can just kind of see the differences here. There's enough where you can really get things to stand out. Next to your font, you have your font size. And this one is a pretty obvious one, where if you highlight something and change the size, the bigger you make it, the bigger your word's going to be. The smaller you make it, the smaller your word's going to be. And this can be used to make emphasis, titles. When you're taking notes, it can help you break things into sections, that kind of stuff. And next to the font size, you're going to see your font formats. So the three most common ones are bold, italic, and underline. Bold, I can get it here, will make it a little darker, make it stand out a little bit more. Italics gives it kind of a fancy curved slant to it. And of course, underline is going to put a line under it. Now, click this off. There's some more of these font formats that you have in your format text here. You also have strike through, subscript, and superscript. So let's take a look at those real quick. So if I want to change this to a strike through, it's going to put a line through the word. If I change this to a superscript, it's going to make it so that it would appear, I've got that, kind of at the top of words, and subscript is going to be tiny and at the bottom. Oh, not going to let me. Okay, no problem. What else you'll find in this format was your line spacing. Now, I've been spacing my lines just by hitting enter, but let's say we come down, clear all formatting right now to get it back to where I needed. So with these new examples, these are single spaced, which is fine, but can be hard to read sometimes. So we usually use a double to a 1.5. And that's what you can do with your line spacing, which is also found here on your toolbar. But if you go to your line spacing, 1.5, you can see it puts a little more in there. And then there's double, which makes the space in between each line a little bigger. Now, your most common for when you're doing papers for other classes or other, if you move on to other schools like college, your most common is going to be either single spaced or double spaced. You don't see a lot of that 1.15 or the 1.5 space. Okay, couple more things real quick. Um, Next to your text or font formats there, text formats, you can change the color of your words, so or your text there. So right there, you can change it to any of those colors. It can be helpful, once again, to provide emphasis, make it look a little more creative, look better, those kind of things. And the next one we have here is your page setup. Okay, so you have four options: left align, which is where we are here, where the words are aligned to the left; center, which will put them in the center; right align, which will put them to the right; and then justify will make everything very square. So it'll keep it to the left, but square it up. As far as that goes, the most that's used is either left align or center, depending on how much you're using with them. The final piece of formatting I want to go over is bullet points and numbering, and those are going to be found here. And these are made for lists. So the etiquette of these is, if we have list one, if it is a list of ingredients, we would just use a bulleted list, meaning here's what we need for this, or here's a list of things. Uh, there's no real steps to it. We could just put this. So it'd be like a list of ingredients. You can always hit the tab like I did there to put a bullet under a bullet, and that's good for taking notes. Oops, if I could spell cheddar right, it'd be even better. That's good for note taking as you're going along with stuff. So as you can see, I have my list of ingredients, and for the cheese specifically, we want cheddar. And then you could always hit Shift Tab to go back. All right. Now, the numbered list is when you're doing like directions or steps, is kind of what you use for that. So that would be steps to opening a new doc. And once again, you can go under and put any other notes you would want. So this is the basics of formatting a document.